Our second objective for today is I will be able to add and subtract fractions. So you should probably be starting this on page 6 of your notebook. Okay, unless you have super big handwriting, I want you to start this on page 6 if you are not on page 6 already. And at the top, you should be writing add and subtract fractions. All right, again, you need to write down everything that I have on these slides and everything that I write down or anything I say that you think is important. So, steps for adding or subtracting fractions. Step 1 is you find a common denominator, which means you need to find a same bottom number. Step 2, you find your new numerator, which is top number. 3, you add or subtract the top numbers, the numerators. You keep the bottom number or the denominator, and then you simplify. So, for example, if we start with 1/2 plus 1/3. So, we need a common denominator. So, I need to think about what's common between 2 and 3. Like, what number can both 2 and 3 multiply into perfectly? And that number would be 6. So, because 6 is my common denominator, I need to find my new numerator. So, 2 times 3 got me 6. So, 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 2 got me 6. So, 1 times 2 is 2. All right. So, then I add the top numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. And I keep the denominator, 6. I look to see if I can simplify. I cannot. 5 and 6 cannot be divided by the same thing. So that is my answer. Okay, if we try another one, same thing. Start with finding the common denominator. So, common denominator between 6 and 10. Both of them can multiply into 30 evenly. If you struggle with finding a common denominator, I suggest you get really good at writing out multiples of the numbers. So like, for example, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, and then you write out the multiple of the second number, 10, 20, 30, and you stop when you reach the same number. Okay, so that's how I know 30 was my common denominator. So then I do the same thing to the bottom that I'm going to do to the top. So 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25. 10 times 3 is 30. 3 times 3 is 9. From there, I subtract the top. 25 minus 9 is 16. Keep the bottom. And then I look to see if I can simplify. This time I know I can because the top and the bottom are both even numbers. So I can definitely divide both by 2. So let's start there. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Then I look, can I divide 8 and 15 by the same thing? No, I cannot. So 8 over 15 is my final answer. Right. If I have mixed numbers, it does not change the way I do this. I still need to find a common denominator. So we just did 1/2 and 1/3. But this is not going to be any different even though it's mixed numbers. So I'm going to keep the whole number. I know my common denominator between 2 and 3 is 6 because we talked about that last time. Plus keep the 5. Add the 6 at the bottom. 2 times 3 was 6, so 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6, so 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, now I'm going to add my whole numbers, so 2 plus 5. That's 7. And then I'm going to add my fractions. 3 plus 2 is 5, and I keep the 6 on the bottom. Okay, when I'm subtracting, same thing. I'm going to keep the whole number. My common denominator between 5 and 10 is 10. Okay. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. 10 times 1 is 10. 3 times 1 is 3. So that fraction doesn't change. Then I subtract the whole numbers. 3 minus 1 is 2. And the numerators. 4 minus 3 is 1. Keep the denominator. So 2 1/10 is my answer there. All right, let's try another one. Keep the whole number. My common denominator between 4 and 3, another one that you should know easily, is 12. So 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. From here, I'm going to write up here just to let you know, because we have a little bit extra work. 4 plus 4 is 6. And then I add the top numbers. 9 plus 8 is 17 over 12. Now, I said improper fractions are okay, but not when they have a mixed number with it. So I need to turn this into a mixed number. So 12 goes into 17 one whole time. Okay, no more than one whole time, but it goes in one whole time. So this 6 is going to become a 7 because I'm adding one whole to it. Then I think about what's remaining. Well, 17 minus 12 is 5, so 5 is remaining, and I keep the bottom. If that is confusing for you to do in your head, okay, you can do the long division. 17 divided by 12. Twelve goes into 17 one whole time. 1 times 12 is 12. Subtract and get 5. So I just did the same thing. And I kind of go in this way. So 1 whole gets added to the 6, and then 5/12 is my answer. Again, this should be review. That's why we're going over this kind of quickly. Ask me if you have questions, please. All right, lastly, this one is a little bit different, and I'll show you why. So we have 6. Common denominator between 2 and 4 is 4. Okay. So 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So if you notice now, if I ask you to subtract, you cannot subtract because you have 2 and 2 minus 3. You cannot just subtract those and tell me it's 1. It does not work that way. Okay, so when this fraction is smaller, like 2/4 is smaller than 3/4, we have to do something called borrowing. So I'm going to rewrite this over here so I have more room. So I have 6 and 2/4 minus 2 and 3/4. Again, I cannot just subtract right now. I need to do something called borrowing. So I'm going to borrow a whole from the 6. So this 6 is going to become a 5. And when I borrow, I take the denominator, so this 4, and I add it to the numerator. So now my new fractions are 5. 2 plus 4 is 6 over 4 minus 2 and 3/4. Now I can subtract 6 minus 3. So I subtract my whole numbers, 5 minus 2, and then my numerators. 6 minus 3 is 3 over 4. So 3 3/4 is my answer there. Okay. Once again, time to practice, and what you don't finish will become your homework. In a little bit, I'll ask you to submit what you have, and then I'll ask you to finish what you have not done yet. Again, make sure that you are writing your numbers down as you are working, and you are circling your answers so that I can easily read your work. You must show all of your work. If you have questions, please ask them to me. All right.